Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name's Sam and I'd like to welcome you to another TechVertu tutorial. In today's tutorial I'll be showing you how to remove an LCD panel from a laptop. Now the laptop I'll be using in today's tutorial is a rather old one, however the process of removing and replacing an LCD panel is pretty much the same throughout all laptops, even up to the most up-to-date ones. So a laptop screen can be damaged in so many ways, whether it's dropped from a height, whether it's hit on something, or even if it's scratched or damaged in the workplace, and this could be quite a hefty bill to pay for a company to replace the screen. However, lucky for you, it is rather easy to actually replace the screen yourself. If you follow this tutorial, we'll be showing you exactly how to replace this screen. So the first thing you want to do is remove 4 covers on the actual bezel of the screen itself. These 4 covers are small black circular plastic pieces which will reveal 4 screws that you'll need to remove first. These 4 screws, there are 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom of the actual screen. And once you have removed all 4 screws, you can move on to the next step, which is removing the bezel itself. So now all 4 screws are removed, you can start lifting the bezel up. Now you can be quite forceful with this process, as it can be quite hard to lift, especially if you can't get your finger under the actual bezel itself. But once you start lifting the bezel and you unhook it from the hinge of the actual laptop itself, you'll be able to see more of the actual LCD panel and the interior of the screen of the laptop. Now you can see the whole LCD panel, but the first thing you do is start to lift up the panel, which is caught on some hinges, and you'll see that there are going to be multiple screws at the bottom and the top of the hinge itself. So once you start unscrewing the panel, the actual frame of the screen will drop and the panel will become easier to move itself. So you continue removing them. There are 2 at each corner of the bottom, and because you've removed the 2 top pieces when removing the bezel, there are none at the top. So once you remove that, the screen is a lot easier to move about, and you will actually see that on the sides of the hinge there are actually more screws that you'll need to unscrew, which will release the panel completely. So these screws on the side are actually holding the screen in place, so you want to be very careful when removing these screws, as the screen will drop once the screws are removed. There is 1 at the top and 1 at the bottom of each side of the panel, but once you've removed all 4, you'll be able to take the screen out completely and replace it with a new screen. So once the screen is removed, you remove all 4 of the screws. You will want to place the screen face down so you can remove the panel connectors on the back. Now you need to be very careful when removing this display connector, as if you bend any of the pins, it will cause a massive headache and it will cause a lot more trouble when you come to fix this screen. So the first thing you want to do once you've got your new screen is place it inside the hinge and screw in the 4 side screws to hold the screen in place before you do anything else. After the panel is connected to the 4 side screws, you would want to reconnect the display connector onto the back of the panel. To do this, be very careful once again, because if you do bend any of the pins while reconnecting, you will cause yourself a hell of a lot more headaches. Tape it down with the provided tape and it should be good to go once the connector is properly inserted. Once the connection point is replaced and taped down securely, what you'll want to do is screw down the bottom screws to connect yourself back to the shroud of the screen. After that, fit the webcam, if the laptop has one, to the designated webcam slot. After you've done that, you can go ahead and replace the bezel for the screen itself. This will hold the panel back in place securely. To do this, just rehinge to the actual base of the laptop and then push down quite firmly on the exterior of the bezel to click it into place. So now we're almost done. We've got the bezel pushed back into place, it's all clicked in and the panel is secured nicely. The final thing that we do need to do, however, is replace the final 4 screws that go into the bezel itself. The 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. To give it that final finishing touch, you need to replace the covers, and these should stick onto the screws rather well, so you just cover it up, press down quite firmly onto the screws, and your laptop will be ready to go. So now once we boot the laptop, as you can see, the screen comes on nicely, and you can see that the display is no longer cracked, broken, and there's nothing on the display, but you can actually see Windows is starting to boot on this laptop. So I hope this tutorial helped you. If it did, remember to let us know down below in the comments of what you thought. We'll be making more tutorials like this in the future, so please let us know in the comments as well what you'd like to see. Subscribe to stay up to date with the latest videos. Have a nice day.